Hey guys, how are you doing? It's a shitty week, and to be honest, I'm absolutely not in the mood to do a video where I show you knots or how to navigate with a compass or shit. So I thought let's just sit down and talk. Now, if you watch this video and you wonder why this is a shitty week, we have the 2nd of March 2022 and the Russian invasion into Ukraine is ongoing. I think it started, I'm not even sure, and at the 24th, so 24th, 25th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 1st March, 2nd March, so 7th day now. Um, I don't want to go too much into how it actually looks in the Ukraine because the only thing I know from social media. But I still wanted to talk a little bit to you about this stuff. And I don't want to be too political, not because I'm afraid of being political, but just because in the current situation, I don't know shit about the situation. I mean, a lot of people said, well, the absolute shit show of the withdrawal from Afghanistan set the stage for this. Others said, well, you could see a change in Putin's behavior since the early 2000s. So I don't know, frankly. I just don't know. I think what is pretty clear here is who is on the right side of history and who is on the wrong side of history. And I'm not buying all that BS from, yeah, you shouldn't have encroached on the Russian borders. If you're afraid that the NATO is getting too close to your borders, you don't invade a country that borders directly to the NATO and so make the NATO border your border. That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, this those theories don't fly with me, and I also don't have the patience to argue about that. From a personal side, I have no ties to Ukraine, um, but I was still moved by the display of heroism and courage from their president, but also from what you see, right? Because it's only what we see um, in social media from the normal people. Um, Today we actually had a meeting at work, and one of our colleagues is from Ukraine. I learned that you shouldn't say from the Ukraine, but from Ukraine. And I mean, she was very touched. Her family is still down there. She organizes that supplies get shipped down there. So, and I mean, that was something that actually made me pretty proud because we have this app in Switzerland. It's called Twint, and you can send money from mobile phone to mobile phone. And she was collecting donations within our department, and you have a fixed limit depending on your bank, right? And it's something like 5,000 or 10,000 Swiss francs that you can send or receive. And on the first day, I think yesterday, she sent out an email and said, hey, I'm buying medical supplies to ship to the Ukraine. If you want to participate, just twint me. And on the first day, the twint volume she had available was just emptied. So another colleague had to jump in with her app and receive the money. So um, I mean, people giving a lot, and I think it's a good cause, right? If NATO should get involved or not is a whole different cause. And again, there are so many geopolitical aspects to this that I don't want to get into it because I really don't have a valid opinion on that yet. But sending medical supplies and helping the people there is for sure something that makes sense, also from a logical perspective. getting into a war with Russia maybe would even make sense from an emotional perspective, but I'm not sure that it would be the right thing to do at this point. So yeah, and this is why I'm more or less sitting here, um, and I just didn't feel that it is appropriate to to show you how to coil a rope or to use a compass when those things happen. And I don't want to make videos when I don't feel like doing it. And yeah, that's a day like today, but I still wanted to share with you. Um, Let me take a sip from my tea because um, yeah, it's tea, not coffee, because it's already pretty late. I'm still using my Black Rifle coffee mug. Oh, I don't. Of course, you might have seen it. Black Rifle Coffee Company went public via the New York Stock Exchange, the Wall Street. I think that was on 9th February. Um, yeah, pretty cool to see that you can get the company from roasting coffee in the back of a Humvee to an actual publicly traded company within 8 years, right? That's that's pretty cool for not being new technology, right? So where was I? Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how you feel, but seeing the people in Ukraine struggle and also seeing the President Zelensky um, acting like a hero. I mean, nobody knows what's in the background, but from what we see again, it looks like he's doing a fantastic job. But then also seeing the grief and how people, so my colleague from work, is impacted, that really hit home. I mean, I it almost feels like you're not entitled to feel sad about it because I said I'm not I'm not actually concerned by it. I mean, I'm sitting in Switzerland and no bombs are flying here, and God help us that this will stay that way for quite some time. But it still hit home, and I'm following the situation very closely. And so yeah, no tutorials this week, but still, yeah, I wanted to share this. One thing I'm actually thinking about is if this is one of those big turning points in history. Um, the bad things about these turning points is always that you actually mm, really don't notice if you participate in them. I mean, I remember on 9/11, and that might be another of these turning points. Um, I remember 9/11. I was actually in a trade school, and I just came home, and my grandmother told me, "Hey, there two airplanes hit the World Trade Center, right?" So, and I was I was not even allowed to drink back then, so I was pretty young. And the next one I could really remember was then maybe the big refugee crisis in Germany. I feel that this was a significant thing. Um, then, of course, the withdrawal from Afghanistan. That also felt like history in the making. But it also was, yeah, this is an isolated event. It might not ripple off into greater events, right? And now this one, the Ukraine crisis, is really, you don't know what happens. It might change our lives completely, right? So I talked to a very good friend of mine yesterday, and we actually talked about camouflage patterns and looking. I mean, of course, camouflage patterns in just in case you have to get away from where you are. And we talked about camouflage in Germany, we talked about Swiss camouflage, what you would need. And at one point, I asked him, hey, am I stupid to even think about that? Right? Because I mean, I can handle myself if somebody would break into our house, right? We are an armed household. We train martial arts, etc. So I'm not very concerned about that. But and I never thought about, hey, will I need camouflage to get away from the X because there is um, somebody from outside the country, so not within the country, but from outside the country, coming in here. And I'm still not really sure if this is just the current effect of things on how people think, but or how I think. I can't speak for all the people, but he said something that really made me think. Right? He said, "Yeah, 2 months ago the Ukrainians might have asked themselves the same questions, and this is an addendum from my side. I hope they made the right choice, right? So I feel that the the invasion into Ukraine actually changes things, and it might change things more than we're aware of right now. Even though, if you look at what the politicians say, I mean, if you look at Germany, they will bump up their military budget like they never did before after 1930, right? So um, I don't want to call it interesting times, but it's strange times to live in. Where do I go with this? Um, to be honest, nowhere. I mean, during the last 2 weeks, I know I posted videos, I pre-produced them because I was actually on vacation in South Asia. I bought these pants on the beach. I don't know if you can see them. They have little elephants on them. Uh, and don't ask why I wear them right now, but they're nice. They're quite comfy, and so I'm wearing them. And I bought them on the beach because we were in South Asia, on Sri Lanka, the island south of the south tip of India, and we wanted to visit a Buddhist temple. And you have to wear long pants if you want to do that. And of course, I only had my Swiss or European jeans, and they're much too thick to just, yeah. I mean, the locals from there, they all wear Levi's or some rip off from Levi's, or they wear jeans. But for me, I think I would have died in jeans. I just have, uh, yeah, would have sweated to death. So that's why I bought these pants for, I think, $4, and so far they hold up quite good. Yeah, what else? I also bought this little box. I am not sure what I will do with it, but I found it nice. You can put stuff in there. Um, it's made from, I think, rosewood, palisander. Not sure what the actual botanic name is, but it's nice. I have it for. I often receive postcards and stuff, and I can put them in there. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about. The funny thing is, before the whole thing with the invasion started, I actually wanted to do a video about Russian next generation warfare. So the content of this video would have been how Russia has changed its model of warfare from what the early Soviet Union did to this more modern hybrid approach. And I actually did a fair amount of research on this just out of personal interest. And this is also why I have this book in my hand. It's called Battlegrounds, The Fight to Defend the Free World, from H.R. McMaster, the general. He was national security advisor under President Trump. And it's a pretty cool book. He lays out the strategies of various, well, opposing forces, Russia, China, and makes suggestions how to counter that strategy. And it's interesting. But to be honest, from what we saw in Ukraine now, it's almost void. You, I mean, we assumed that Russia is not able to go into a bigger invasion, right? We knew them for cyber war, for information warfare, and how it looks currently, it's pretty funny because Russia is losing the information war and is didn't do any, well, considerable cyber war activities, at least to my knowledge. On the opposite, they get hacked, and but they are the ones with tanks rolling. So I'm not sure if our picture of the Russian warfare system will really hold up, um, just in front of this new information. Um, yeah, so I recently saw a meme where it said, yeah, yesterday I was a vaccine expert and today I'm a foreign policy expert. I don't want to um, yeah, to go much deeper into that. It just doesn't make sense. Um, it makes me really sad seeing what's going on there, and I did not want to post nothing, but I also didn't want to act as if nothing happened. And yeah, this is why I sat here, showed you my cool elephant pant, and talked about the book and a little box from Rosewood. So I I hope that next week we can go back to a little bit lighter topics. Maybe I can show you my new gun if you're interested in that one. It's a pretty interesting one from my perspective. AR variant, but still. So yeah, I'd say thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time. Um, this was just me sharing my thoughts. Uh, maybe one thing. So I I didn't fight in Afghanistan, so obviously it's hard to really try to be in the footsteps of people who fought in the recent war, right? But I can imagine that the whole thing with the Ukraine, maybe even a little bit the feeling of helplessness. At least I felt that because in the first, well, the first impulse was, yeah, grab my gun and go to Ukraine. Um, but I can see that this is a hard time for people, and yeah, know that you're not alone with feeling that. I think a lot of people feel that. If you feel shit, reach out to somebody. I met with Guang yesterday and we talked, and I mean it's just good to see friends, and don't stay at home in a dark room. Go out there, work out. Sitting at home doesn't help anybody, and yeah. Okay, guys. So that's everything from my side. As said, thank you that you invested your time in watching this video. Um, I'll try to give you more value in a few of the next ones, but yeah, it was important to me to express what I just expressed. Great, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.